Hey guys, what's up? For this one I thought I'd go over some trailers that I have on my hard drive, which I really like. I guess that's the reason I saved them. This is not to say that all of these trailers are all the trailers I like. There's probably a shitload more, but these are the ones I had saved that when I went back through I was like, yeah, these were cool at the time. This one was, first one was the best one by Black Star, I think it was. And he had this whole 300 theme going on with the Spartans, obviously. It was at the time when 300 had just come out and it was massive, and so he has done one of these trailers with the kind of voiceover soundtrack to it. So he had the voices from the film, which was cool. I did a similar one with Shooter for J-Main. I don't know which one came first, I have no idea, to be honest, but this one was really well done. Timed it really well, the gunshots were really powerful, punchy, and it was just a really nicely done trailer. He had the screen on widescreen, as you can see here, which was something that was kind of new. A lot of people were still doing it in the 4:3 aspect ratios. You'll probably see when we get around to some of these other videos. But this was definitely one of my favourite. It really got me. I mean, the main thing I want from a trailer is to make me want to see the final video, A, and B is to make me want to go and play Halo at the time. So this, for me, ticked all the boxes. It had some big names in. Obviously it was best man against some of the better players in the world. He was on, I believe it was Versus back then, could be wrong, but yeah, definitely one of my favourite trailers. Oh, there it is, yeah. So one of my favourite trailers from the Halo 2 era. And these videos that I've put together on this timeline, again, had no specific order, just ones that I found, and I thought I'd throw them together for a quick video. The next one we've got is Dime Days. So my friend Forza Wilzer was probably my biggest influence when I got into editing. At the time he made himself kind of available for speaking to me. I've never met him up until like two years ago, and when I found out he was living in London and doing the same thing as me now, which was kind of cool. So I've met up with him a few times. But he was a great pioneer of this kind of classical music, and in this one he uses a lot of muted colours and then just flashes of colours every here and there, just to kind of, as you can see, they're like selectively bringing in the colour every here and there. But the main thing was he had it beautifully synced to a classical soundtrack. He used a lot of tunes from the Matrix soundtrack in his videos that he did with Dime Days, and I could be wrong, but I think this one was probably one from the Matrix. Obviously I've got it on mute here because I don't want to get done for copyright. People have been asking me why I haven't had the sound on these videos. It's because I will get done for copyright, so I'd rather just not take that risk, to be honest. I might try with this one to put the levels down like really low, but yeah, I don't really want to risk this video being taken off, otherwise there's no point me doing this. So this is he used a really powerful lens flare there in that moment, and it was at the point where the song really freezes. And yeah, he was one of the first pioneers for like proper hardcore syncing, and every time I watch his videos, even years after, I always felt they were miles ahead. This by Kiwi for Hysteria, which went on to become The Wicked End, was probably his finest work, I think. Although I like the final video, this trailer was like my favourite thing Kiwi ever did. It was at the time when was it Miami Vice was coming out. They were rebooting that, and this soundtrack with the Jay-Z Linkin Park hybrid song was just perfect for this. And I remember even the little graphics at the start there with Hysteria. This was kind of funny. It was kind of unique, I thought, and he kind of really got the film trailer feel down. And there was not many trailers that made me want to go play Halo as much as this one after what. So he was like a really good job, and obviously he did the Eurotage with me, so I respect him definitely a lot. This by the Halo God was completely different, like the complete opposite end of the spectrum. For anyone who used to watch like Halo when it was gaming vids before Halo 2 forum and all these kinds of videos, he was like the original sync master, and he used to get a lot of Halo Pro, man, that's old school. He used to get a lot of sticks, like he was known for his sticks, and he was known for his incredible capture quality, which back then, you know, people were using like, I think, Dazzle 90s, and he somehow used to come out with these videos that just looked like you were playing them almost through the TV. really well encoded, lovely capture quality, and so I always used to really enjoy watching his videos purely because the fact that they were, you know, a lot better quality than a lot of people, and they were nicely synced. For this one he used Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which was obviously an instantly recognizable song, but also a very light-hearted song, which was, you know, this was at a time when people were trying to be really serious with their videos, and it was a kind of nice change of pace to watch his videos because they were always really fun. And you'll see he does something really creative towards the end of the video if you've not seen this before, which, you know, otherwise this would be almost like a mini, this would be what you would expect to see in the first, you know, like 2 minutes of a montage. If anything, it felt, I'm not a huge fan of trailers where you just show all the gameplay, because you're just like, well, am I watching a trailer, am I watching a montage? There's this really nice little sync part here to all the little, I'm not sure what the noise is called, but in the song it's absolutely beautiful. And then this was my favourite thing, just looked like so much fun, got a lot of people as pink Spartans just to kind of jump around and have fun. And he was, yeah, his videos were so unique at the time, and he was just so much more creative than a lot of the people back then, and that's why this trailer stands in my mind anyway. That kind of last section with all the pink Spartans I always found really fun, and it made me laugh, and it was different, you know, and you want to stand out from people. That's the bottom line when you're an editor or you're making a video, you want it to stand out. So that this trailer definitely did that for me. Next we have Talents, I believe, by Halsred. Trailer for this, which was in typical Halsred style, like quite intense, quite almost over the top, but the way, I mean, I wasn't a huge fan of the kind of intro to this. Had this kind of basic, what looks like fractal noise, and this was a bit mad. You had the clips flying around the screen. The eye didn't really know where to look towards the start of it, but then as the video got, as you got more and more into it, he brought more, like you said here, we had like full screen clips. Obviously we had some great players, had this thing in the background. I really like this sequence of images coming towards the screen, and then he had this part where they kind of peel away into, yeah, this effect was really cool. I don't know if it was a plugin or a preset, but I felt it was really nicely synced, and there was a really nice flow, even though we were going, because he had a really nice mix. He always used to do really nice things with his sound effects and really beef up the sound of his sniper rifles to the point where they were almost overblown, but that was his style, and again there was no one else doing that. So in terms of standing out, it was another kind of thing I admired. You know, I just admired anyone who does something different, because, you know, there's far too much room for people to play it safe. So as soon as someone did something different, even if it wasn't particularly great, you know, you always take at least you're going to get people's attention when you do that. And the next trailer is a big example of that. So it's by Obscure Terror, who is probably one of the most polarizing editors in the community when he was doing it. Like, this video itself, like, I absolutely hate this red overlay, because he did one for MGS Snake 1 and 2, and so he did one in blue and one in red. But this, you know, if you can look past the color cast, this is just a plugin by Sapphire, but it blew people's minds at the time. Anyone who didn't really know After Effects thought that was amazing. It's actually a really simple plugin that does that effect, but it was really nicely implemented, you know. And he always had great soundtracks to his song. Hans Zimmer, I believe, was this one, and had the little blood splats coming in, but it was just the way he cut audio to and gunshots and synced everything to the song was, yeah, it's second to none. It was absolutely amazing. And he used to even cut like medals off halfway through and then put other medals. And again, another guy who was just standing out for something completely different at the time. And here we have Chaldeans, things for Pistola and Polak, I believe it was. Obviously using the Cell Dweller, which was absolutely massive at the time. Like, you couldn't escape us when we got into like the early Halo 3 montages, and in the first 2 years it was really hard to escape Cell Dweller. He was, at the time, it was pretty much the go-to artist if you wanted to do a song for a montage, and this was absolutely brilliantly made, beautifully synced, lots of really nice audio work, really nice effects there. and just an incredible flow. Shows enough but not too much, got you excited about playing Halo. Some nice angles. Obviously in Halo 3 you had the angles to play with, unlike Halo 2, so there's a lot more scope to be creative, but there was some nice logos here and there was obviously made, and some nice flashes, and it was different, you know, and again it was really nicely made, really nicely synced. So if you get those two things down, then you're kind of in a good place. And then this is probably my favorite Halo 3 trailer, the again Obscure Terror. I wasn't so much a big fan of the final, but I really like the trailer, especially compared, there's an error there if you look on the side of the screen, like he has his clips overlaying a bit wider than the footage which he has, which is a bit sloppy, but you know, it can be forgiven because he did some really interesting thing. He glamorized the kind of pixel motion, slow motion, to the point where it became distorted. Anyone who's watched my videos knows I was never a fan of this look, but there was so much going on here. So I think these screens were made with some presets in a program called Combustion, which I think was kind of like After Effects adjacent. I kind of looked into it at the time, but I was learning After Effects, and that was enough for me. But he did some really cool stuff with the text here is gorgeous, and his soundtracks and audio was always brilliantly mixed, and definitely my favorite Halo 3 trailer. And that is going to do it for trailers. I don't really have that many more trailers on my hard drive. That was actually most of them. I'm sure there's loads of trailers I love that I've missed that I just don't have. But hopefully you enjoyed that, and I will see you to review some more stuff that has inspired me in a later video. And that's what I'm doing with these videos. People have been asking me to review random videos. That's not what I'm doing. I'm kind of trying to review videos that influence me directly. So if they influence me, they might pop up on my YouTube channel at some point. If not, then maybe I'll get back into doing reviews at some point in the future if I run out of stuff to talk about. But for now, this is what I'm doing with this series. So hopefully that answers that question. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.